So Recreators this week was a really entertaining episode. It was less action focused than I thought it was going for, but I'm perfectly fine with that because the most interesting content in Recreators isn't the action, it's the character interactions, because we have so many different characters from different backgrounds, and how they interact, how they fight, and how they talk with one another is very entertaining because they are so different and they come from separate worlds, but seems like very similar but very opposite all at the same time. And I'm about to say something that's going to be a very unpopular opinion. Now, I've already claimed that Manga is my favorite character. She's a psychopath, she's insane, and I love that type of character. But if I was going to pick a second favorite character in this series, I would actually pick Mamika. And that's a character who a lot of people say when she's on screen, when she's talking, she's annoying, or she just feels like a stupid character. But she feels like the best character next to my psychopathic, villainous character, because she brings up a perfect point. Because children and what they say a lot of times can be brushed aside, but there is something about a child's innocence that sometimes adults and just people who aren't children anymore sometimes fail to forget. And the fact of the matter is, all this violence that's happening doesn't need to happen, but they're all fighting, they're all trying to kill one another, and she ultimately is not picking a side. She's trying to stop. She's saying, if you don't stop fighting, I will use my abilities on you. And she keeps, basically she uses her abilities to stop the fights. And ultimately, they all retreat, more or less. And she ultimately is that kind of barrier. She's that person who doesn't understand why we need to fight, and ultimately she's trying to retain her pure form that she came from because she's from a children's magical girl anime. And I love that because she's this, ray of hope in all of this, violence and bloodshed of, you don't need to do this, while also being insanely powerful. She's not just someone who's like, don't do anything and then gets thrown to the side. No, she has insane strength. In fact, you could say she might be one of the strongest if she didn't hold back at all. And I love that because you need that type of character in a bunch of... We have a knight, we have a mecha pilot, we have a villainous character who can use her words to basically do whatever she wants, as her lives become literally whatever she wants them to be. We have people who can, summon spirits to fight. We have all these, bloodshed and just carnage fighters. And then we have a pure, innocent, magical girl who wants no one to fight, and I love that. I mean, I can kind of understand people saying, oh, I just want to see these characters throw a punch or throw an attack at one another, but having this innocence here just really makes the entire character dynamic, I feel, complete. If you removed Mamika, it would feel a bit off, because you didn't have that innocence, that one personality saying, why do we have to fight? Why is this happening? And I love it, because all these different personalities are bringing up so many questions, and just so many comments that us as the viewer would ask, why do you need to fight? And I love it. But I also have to say, it's really interesting watching Soda, the character who is, a lot of people have dismissed as not being that interesting, kind of quiet, he's the typical main character, but I really like his character just because of what he's bringing to the table, because yes, we knew that he had some hand in the military uniform princess's design. We knew that he's an artist, that he probably did some sort of rough sketch for his friend who obviously killed herself in front of the train in episode 1, but we didn't know everything here, but he was hiding that he knew something about this character. And I've heard some people say, they didn't understand why he was holding it back, it was very typical, but I mean, he feels guilty. Ultimately, he's like, I had a hand in this character who's causing all of this destruction, all of this madness. Obviously, someone who's been very sheltered, very shy, isn't want to reveal to all these players of importance, hey, I'm actually part of the reason why everything's gone to shit. And ultimately, the only reason he even admits to it is because he promises the magical girl Mamika that he wouldn't lie to her, and then she asks a question, do you know this character? Yes, I do. And I love that because they didn't keep it a secret for too long. I mean, it's going to be interesting when ultimately they realize, the rest, all of these characters realize that he lied and that he hid information. But it fits his character. Someone who is shy, who is shut in, who didn't have many friends, realizes that I'm the reason the world might end, or I'm a part of the reason why the world might end. And it makes sense for him to hide that information, and I love ultimately why he reveals it due to Mamika. I think they're doing a really good job at making all the characters have some sort of importance. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, like Soda himself. It took a little while for him to be focused in the spotlight and for you to kind of understand why he's so reluctant in telling people. But ultimately, all these characters are feeling important and fleshed out in some way, and it's going to be really interesting to see by episode 22 how fleshed out all these characters are, and ultimately if Military Uniform Princess Girl is going to kidnap Soda or something like that, because now Mamika knows and Mamika is on her side, what ultimately is going to happen there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Soda gets kidnapped, before the rest realize, oh, Soda knew this character all along. It's going to be really interesting to see. I think there was a couple of issues with the animation at times with facial details when they were fighting, but it wasn't anything too drastic, and the importance and the focus was on the animation in terms of like characters swinging a sword or throwing an explosion. But overall, it was a very impressive looking episode overall. There was some dips here or there, but nothing too major. From the art quality, the backgrounds, everything like that, it just looked pretty good, and the voice acting was solid. I think Soda and Mamika had to steal a show in this particular episode, but I'm really interested to see what more Magane is going to bring to the table with her psychopathic ways. It's pretty much blamed that she's the reason her creator died, but I'm kind of curious because we saw the character hang himself. So I'm curious if she got there and he already killed himself, and then she's like, well, let's see if I can rewrite it myself, or if she used her words of manipulation to get him to write what it was, and then when things didn't work out, she made him hang himself. There's a couple ways that they could go with it. Like, I'm not 100% sold that she 100% killed him. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he was just a depressed writer. That happens in Japan all the time, that he just hung himself. But it wouldn't be surprising if she just didn't get her way and then she's like, hey, kill yourself. I'm not going to kill myself. The lie activates and then he does it. I think it's really interesting, her abilities overall, and the cast in Epic is fantastic. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of Soda himself? Are you with me that you think it made sense why he was hiding it, why he was so scared to reveal it, or did you find it annoying? Before you leave, smack that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.